For real though, it is. Uh, it's Miss Heather, piano and voice teacher here at Conservatory on the Ozarks, with my secret student who does not want anyone to see how beautiful her face is for some reason, and so only my face is here. And we're going to do the TMJ stretch routine from our vocal track stretches sheet. And so TMJ is an abbreviation for temporal mandibular joint. So you have your temple, the bone here, and then you have your mandible here, or jaw. And so the two bones meet at your jaw, which is your temporal mandibular joint. And so you'll hear people say, oh, I have TMJ. And really, we should say I have TMJ dysfunction, because we all have a TMJ, like, it's part of the human body. But like, it's so easy for things to go wrong there. So these, and tightness here in the jaw can very directly affect the freedom of movement for the larynx. You can see how close together, and on the inside, it's like even more close, really. So I want you to notice, again, like how you sounded and felt when you did the exercise just a second ago, because when I first did some of these stretches, like, I could hear a difference in the clarity of my speaking voice in my speech therapy session. Yeah. And so if jaw tension is an issue for you, you may like immediately hear a difference after doing these, but maybe not. I shouldn't talk them up so much, because because sometimes I do them with some students and it isn't a big difference. And so that's what I was saying about, like, the feedback of this wasn't helpful is still helpful feedback, because you know maybe jaw tension isn't what's causing my tone not to be as clear as I would like, or not as focused as I would like, or whatever. So let's try a different thing. So this first stretch is, let's start at the bottom. So we'll put the tip of our tongue on the roof of our mouth, pressed against the roof of our mouth behind our upper teeth, and then a finger here gently pressing downwards on the chin, but keep the tip of the tongue pressed against the roof of your mouth so you can't pull so far that the tongue can't reach, which is to help you not push too far. But you're going to apply like gentle but kind of intense pressure, and then if you open up your mouth a little bit, you can feel a cave open up right in front of your ear. You find that? That's your jaw joint. So we're going to take one fingertip and push inward in that little cave while we're doing all of this. This is called the Goldfish stretch. It's a very flattering pose. Kidding, not at all, but and notice if you can, as you apply the gentle pressure, if you can slowly put more pressure and more pressure in and down, so you're like increasing the stretch as you go. Try to make sure your mouth is opening symmetrically. And then you can switch to the other side. Find your cave again. Gentle pressure on the chin. Tip of the tongue up against the roof of the mouth behind the upper teeth. What are you trying to do? This is the Goldfish stretch. We're doing our jaw stretches before Miranda sings. Sorry, I'm only doing live streams now, because that way I don't have to remember to upload the video and then delete it afterwards. So. These people are so confused probably. And then the Masseter stretch. So the masseter is the muscle right under the cheekbone here. Like if you feel around with your fingertips, you can feel some muscles in here. And that's why masticating is a different word for chewing. So obviously these muscles really can affect how we sound when we sing, because if we have tension, again, it can affect the way the surrounding tissues are functioning when we're trying to phonate. So we can make fists like this, and then we'll take the proximal joints here, and if you place those fists right underneath your cheekbones and grit your teeth, you'll feel a muscle pop out. You feel that? Mm-hmm. So don't do that while we're doing the stretch, but that's just to tell where you're supposed to go. Okay. So we will push in and then pull down all the way to under the jaw, with pretty firm pressure, because It will like, to me, I would describe the sensation as painful when I'm doing it right. And so, and you pull all the way down. So I'll show you. Push in right where you felt the muscle pop out, and pull up, like not too much to where you're like actually gonna hurt yourself or something, but the muscle is so strong, you kind of have to be pretty firm. And so far we are stretching the outside of the jaw, but we're going to stretch the inside, which is going to be really a weird thing to do. So as we pull down, we're helping these muscles release and relax. I actually can feel here, going down to my larynx, I can feel like an unwinding feeling when I'm doing this, like same with the jaw stretch. And so if you feel that, like you do these stretches and you feel coming down here like, oh, these like kind of pleasant, soft, smooth like sensations kind of radiating downward, probably you have jaw tension or tension in some of these facial muscles or something, and like you're undoing some bad things, which is great news, because and you have to be consistent with doing these. You have to like work it into your weekly practice routine, because the issues can come back otherwise. And and so then the next one is the jaw hold. So you don't have to put your tongue like we did before, but I always press the tip of my tongue up against the roots of my lower teeth again. It's just like a safeguard, so you don't go too far with the stretch. And then you place both hands like this, stack them on top of each other, and then you're just gonna apply a decent amount of pressure downwards. Another very flattering pose. Sorry you have to watch this, it's gross. And then the external TMJ stretch. So this is like the Goldfish stretch from before, where we're stretching the joint, the muscles around the joint, but we're going to do both fingers at the same time. And so we're pointing the fingertips towards each other, and you have to open your mouth to find the cave and just gently keep applying pressure, so hopefully your fingertips get closer and closer together, and you can kind of like gently wiggle them around if you need to. So don't like shove your finger into the space, but like when you can feel like there's been a little bit of a release, then you can try to like push in a little farther, just gently. And as you're doing it, again, try to notice like what sensations you're feeling. Okay, now this is the really weird one. I'm so sorry. We have to, you don't have to use a rubber glove actually, but I just don't like having my finger in my mouth. It feels gross.
Oh, me neither.
And I do kind of think having the glove helps your finger slide more easily around. So this is a really weird thing to do, but we're going to stretch the inside of the temporal mandibular joint now with our finger instead of the outside that we just stretched. So you take your fingertip and you're going to push it back to that same spot basically. So we're going to slide the fingertip between the outside of the upper gum and the inside of the cheek. Okay. And we'll slide backwards, and you should feel, it's like here's the gum and here's the like inside of your cheek. You should feel sort of like there's a spot where it's like, oh, it's hard to get my finger back any farther. It's like right about where your teeth end probably. And so try to get your finger like kind of like wedged into that narrow little space, like as far as you can, comfortably. Like you should not feel a sharp pain, but like it probably will feel tight and a little intense, right? But not, yeah, so it's not going to feel incredible necessarily, but don't just shove back fat, like this is slow. And so just then, once you've gotten in there, close your teeth like this and hold it. And then as you feel like, just like we did with the outside of the jaw, you feel like, oh, the tissues have released a little bit. Try to like wedge your finger a little farther back, as far as you can back here. And then if you get pretty far back and that's going well, you can turn your finger sideways like this very slowly, because that will make even more space because your finger's wider this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do it now. Oh, sorry. It's so gross. So up here and up. I found the end of my teeth, and I try to like wiggle in that little hole, and then I grit my teeth together. So it feels like you're putting your finger between two things that are pressing together. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then just I'm gently sliding that farther, very slowly. Mine's pretty tight. I don't think I'm going to be able to go sideways much, but you would do like this here. Like this, and you turn like this. And then, same thing on the other side. And just keep trying to notice, like, what do you feel like now that you did that stretch? Like, what are you feeling in the surrounding tissues? How does your voice sound when you speak? Let's go to the next one. Side back here. Close your teeth. Feel the squeeze. And keep trying to push farther back. This will probably be the weirdest thing you do today. Maybe all week. Turn sideways. And get a little farther on this side. And that is, so then you can very lovely. That is a good thing to pay attention to, like, is one side tighter than the other. Okay, now this is a sad time for you probably, but here, come stand like right here, because I'm going to do it to you now.
Oh boy.
But, and then you'll do it to me here in a second, because like I feel like that is when you really understand, when you feel someone else do it to you, because I'm going to definitely do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did something that was like a little different than what you feel now, you'll be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. And then the other thing is when you do it to me and I can tell you, oh, nope, this, you really understand when you leave the room how to do this when you get home.
Okay.
And so open your mouth, I'm going to stick my finger in there, slide it back, and then I'll be like, okay, close. And so if at any point the pressure is too intense, like put your hand up or yell or something.
Okay.
Yeah, don't just like be silent and try to take it.
Okay.
Okay. And close. Ooh. Huh. Your joint feels like different than most people's that I've felt. Like I can turn my finger. Is it hurting? You okay? Is this how far back you got? Turn. Let me see if I can get farther back. I feel like that's the end, but like you have a lot of space. Usually people, when they say they have, there we go. Do you feel that? Were you back in there? Good. Okay, so that is good because that's where I can feel the two parts sliding away. But like I can get a lot of space between. Usually when people have jaw pain and we do these, it's like they can't get like it's very tight back there. Yours feels like wide open.
Interesting.
I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, I mean, if it means anything, I still have all of my wisdom teeth because they grew in straight, so.
I don't know.
Just have more.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of wisdom. Lots of room. Ooh, I can feel it. Okay, I can really feel it here. Close your mouth. Is this side tighter for you usually?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell. So you might actually have the problem on the other side. That's what I've heard from my physical therapist. Like they said, it's like sometimes the problem side feels fine, but the non-problem side is like compensating in some way that is causing pain. So you think you have an issue with your left side of your jaw, but really it's the right side. I don't really know. Okay. Doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is an interesting thing that I love about these jaw stretches. Like one time I was leaving a physical therapy appointment and I felt great. And I was like, why do I feel so good? It's like I feel peaceful. Like I feel the absence of anxiety. And I'm like, why? Like nothing is different now than before. And I was like, oh, my jaw doesn't hurt. And it's like you have this like mind-body feedback where it's like your jaw is tight, so your brain is like, oh, we must be stressed right now, I guess. Right? And so you start to feel anxious, and then you start thinking anxious thoughts, and then your jaw tightens up more, you know? And so if we can interrupt that, which isn't exactly voice lessons, but like your body and your mind are what you're using as your instrument to make music when you're a singer. So it's like the way you think can really affect the way you sound sometimes.
That's
and the way
true.
you feel. Yeah. So this can sometimes help interrupt the feedback loop and give a different feedback and start the loop again, right? Like, so, oh, everything feels loose and fine. So guess everything's good. Do you have any questions about any of that?
No, actually.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Good. Oh yeah, I can't like end this anymore because of the stupid screen. Okay. Oh.